Hello, my name is Jaclyn Vance, and this is the Introduction to the AgriScience Fair, a fair students can enter after completing research projects related to agriculture, food, and natural resources. These projects follow the scientific method from the identification of an issue in agriculture to the formation of a conclusion based on data obtained through research and experimentation. This entire project is communicated through a research poster. Research is important in all areas because it strives to fill gaps in our current knowledge so that change can happen. Our current way of living is the product of continued research. In AgriScience specifically, research provides answers to problems and issues that can lead to increased productivity of farms, solutions to environmental issues, and much more. For example, AgriScience fair projects can address the current global hunger crisis through studying genetically engineered varieties of plants or ways to better manage wildlife. These projects can even create environmentally friendly fuels to mitigate climate change. Problems require solutions, and solutions require research. Through research, you can change the field of agriculture, and you can change the world. The AgriScience Fair has 6 different categories to choose from. These categories are animal systems, environmental services and natural resource systems, food products and processing systems, plant systems, power, structural and technical systems, and social sciences. If you need help categorizing, let your teacher know, and they can reach out to the FFA organization. Using these topics, find a project that interests you. Research does not have to be a series of complex steps in a lab. Do you love hunting? I have students researching food preferences of white-tailed deer. Interested in raising animals? I have students measuring mass gains in poultry based on food type. Last year, my students were interested in plants, so they planned on an experiment using biochar as a soil amendment to promote plant growth during drought. After identifying the problem, it is time to form the introduction. This gives background information so that the reader can understand your experiment. Your introduction must include identifying the gap, question, or challenge that led to this research and explanations of what has already been done with proper citations. Basically, why is your research important? What are you changing? And in what ways are you changing the field of agriculture? For the biochar experiment, students led research on using biochar and increasing drought conditions. For the introduction, they noted that the change in climate has led to increased drought, which decreases crop yield. They explained that if biochar does promote plant growth during drought, then it can be used to increase crop yield and mediate climate change, as biochar is a carbon sink. They noted previous research conducted at WVU and properly cited this information. Next, identify your variables and controls. The independent variable is what you change, and the dependent variable is what you will be measuring. A control does not receive the experimental treatment so that it can be used for comparison. In a project comparing soil treatments promoting plant growth during drought, the treated soil is our independent variable, the plant growth is our dependent variable, and then plant and untreated soil would be the control. Using the identified variables in research, it is time to identify a hypothesis. A hypothesis is a testable statement on what you expect to happen. This should be an if-then-because statement. For example, the hypothesis for the biochar experiment is, if biochar, bioblend, and sand are used as soil amendments, then the biochar amendment will result in the greatest plant growth in drought conditions because it is best at storing water while providing nutrients. The next step is to identify the materials and procedures for your experiment. This section must be clearly written in third person, include all of the materials used in the experiment, state the hypothesis and research question while explaining the study design. Any use of statistics must be explained and a detailed narration of steps must be provided. This section has to be so detailed that it can be replicated by someone without ever speaking to you. Now that you have your steps, you must determine the record-keeping system before officially beginning. The following are recommendations for organized experimental records. Label your lab notebook, number your pages, and create a table of contents. Use ink. Date the entries. Do not leave blank pages or remove pages. Be brief, write neatly, no loose paper, keep it with you, and do it every day. Now that you've developed a record-keeping system, you can complete your experiment. As you complete the experiment, color-coding your data will help with analysis later. For example, my students conducted biochar research using red to record growth of the green bean plant for everyday watering, blue for Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and black for once a week. This made it easier to analyze in the next step. Now that the experiment is complete, it is time to dive into the data. Remember that researchers have to be honest with their results. If your data does not support your hypothesis, it is okay. However, you must inform your audience. Do not alter data to support your own agenda. Sometimes it is hard to remain unbiased, so it is important to review your data with peers and other experts. While remaining unbiased, it's time to analyze your results in your discussion. This requires you to think about the meaning of what you have done. In this section, include the following: any major findings and their meaning, how these findings relate to past research, any limitations of your findings, explanations for any surprising, unexpected, or inconclusive results, and suggestions for future research. Now it is time to form the conclusion. This is a summary of everything that you have said so far. In this section, it is important to restate the hypothesis and research question, restate major findings, and the contribution the study made to existing research, and offer any future recommendations. For our project, we denied our hypothesis and recommended a better drainage setup for future research. Now that you've written the lab report component, it is time to develop an abstract. An abstract is a short and sweet synopsis, allowing readers to get a snapshot of your project. It should be under 300 words and include the purpose, procedure overview, results, and conclusion. It should not include citations, tables and charts, abbreviations, or incomplete sentences. Something else that is nice to add to your project is an acknowledgement section. The projects we have completed so far would have not been possible without the expertise of West Virginia University faculty members. Perhaps someone helped you as well. A genuine thank you is always nice. Also, showing that these experts have helped you will help them with grant recognition. Now it is time to show the world your research. To do this, a poster is created. There are several design aspects to keep in mind when creating this poster. Keep it well organized. Use bullet points. Do not make it text heavy, and make sure each area draws in the viewer's attention. Only use 3 to 4 colors. Keep text and images balanced. This is where bullet points help break up the information. Make sure that text and images can be read from 6 feet away. These can be created on PowerPoint, Canva, or many other programs. Here, you will see examples of finished projects from my students. These posters will be presented at fairs, symposiums, and placed on display at many locations. After completing the poster, you will be presenting at fairs, symposiums, and at school. Step back, look at your accomplishments, and be proud of what you have done because you did it. Though you have completed research all of your life, you have now completed it using the scientific method so that it can be shared. This research can go on to change your community, the agriculture field, and ultimately, the world.